I mean, that has to happen. If it doesn't...
If it doesn't?
I can't let my daughter know that I don't want to be a mom.
I'm not saying it's going to be easier, but with Robin in treatment for postpartum depression, I have to believe things are going to get better.
What do we got?
Car crash, female mid-20s, head trauma. Unresponsive, pupils equal and reactive. She wasn't wearing her seatbelt.
Any pre-existing conditions?
Yeah, she's a new mother. She gave birth about 3 months ago. Single car accident. She wasn't wearing a seatbelt, and it looks like she drove right into an overpass.
Let's go.
Okay, let's start with a stat x-ray, get a CAT scan, get a loading dose of dexamethasone and a mannitol drip. We should get a tox screen of blood alcohol. I want to know why a woman not wearing a seatbelt drives into an overpass.
That's the second time you've suggested that you don't want to be a mother.
Well, I didn't mean that. I mean, I'm not used to this therapy. You know, I've always wanted to be a mother. I want to be a mother.
It's just not what you expected it to be. This room is a safe place, Robin, and it's important that you be honest about your feelings.
Okay, but I mean, I'm not one of those people that thinks therapy fixes everything.
It fixes one thing. You know you have an illness and you're...
Yeah, I know. I mean, I know a lot of women have issues after they give birth. You know, there's that lack of sleep, there's hormonal imbalance. You know, I've always been able to figure out things on my own. I can handle this. You wouldn't know this, but I originally had planned to get pregnant in vitro. I wanted a kid so badly, I thought I'm going to do this with or without a man in my life. Now Patrick is the perfect father, and here I am, the one making the mess of everything.
I'm sure Patrick's a great guy, but there's no such thing as a perfect father.
Well, I just meant that, you know, this isn't the way things were supposed to be. I had it all figured out.
You talk a lot about how things should be, but I don't hear a lot about how you feel.
I feel stretched too thin. That's how I feel. I feel irritated. I'm bitchy. I snap at Patrick. I don't want to eat. I'm angry. You know, I feel a lot. But not when it comes to Emma. I feel nothing, and I feel, I mean, if you haven't noticed, I've also lost the ability to form a coherent sentence.
You're doing fine. How about your husband? How's that relationship?
I've lost interest in sex, which makes me feel guilty and completely incompetent. But of course I blame him for it, and I get angry, and then I start to feel guilty all over again, and then that just becomes a whirlwind of all these impulses.
What kind of impulses?
Where are those CAT scan results?
On the way, doctor.
Are those the pictures?
No, that's the results of the blood panel. So the patient has no drugs or alcohol in her system, no history of epilepsy or any other condition that'll cause her to pass out at the wheel, and her last hospital stay was to give birth 3 months ago, and that went well.
There's got to be some sort of medical explanation. The police said the roads were fine, the car was sound. There's something going on here. I want to know what it is.
I've done some research on postpartum depression, and I've already settled on a treatment plan that works for me.
Have you?
Yes, I want to start hormone therapy in conjunction with a nutritionist supervised diet. I've read that a well-balanced organic diet helps balance the hormones, and I plan to exercise regularly.
Well, if you've got it all figured out, why are you here?
To please my husband.
In all my years of practice, I've never had a patient who successfully overcame anything for someone else. You have to do it for yourself.
Are you questioning that I'm qualified to make a diagnosis?
Only one of us gets to have a God complex in this room. I'm the doctor, you're the patient, and I'm telling you you're in a world of trouble.
Maybe I should get a second opinion.
Be my guest. I've heard enough to determine that you're clinically depressed.
I don't think that taking a pill solves the problem.
I'm not negating your treatment plan. It's smart to include diet and exercise. The meds are meant to work in conjunction with our therapy and your lifestyle changes, so that the next time you want to turn right instead of left, maybe you'll think twice.
All right. I'll see you next week.
With your current symptoms, I suggest we start out by meeting every day.
Not bad, huh?
It's up to you. You can either get serious or continue doing what you're doing now.
Okay. Fine. Lynn, I'll see you tomorrow. Same time?
Mm-hmm.
She suffered severe head trauma.
How severe?
Well, we're gonna run some tests and we'll know more after that.
I don't understand what happened. The police said there was an accident. I should have been watching Trisha more carefully.
The police report said your wife suddenly swerved her car and drove head-on into an overpass.
She suffered severe head trauma.
How severe?
Well, we're gonna run some tests and we'll know more after that.
I don't understand what happened. The police said there was an accident. I should have been watching Trisha more carefully.
The police report said your wife suddenly swerved her car and drove head-on into an overpass.
Mr. Bolton, has your wife suffered any dizziness that you know of? Fainting spells or anything of the sort?
No, nothing like that. I mean, Trisha hasn't been herself since the baby was born, but nothing like what you described.
Okay, no seizure disorders, severe headaches, anything?
Never. What do you think it means?
Okay. Well, the woman doesn't drive into a concrete pillar for no reason. Something's got to precipitate it, even if she doesn't have a pre-existing condition. Low blood pressure, maybe a slow brain bleed or something like that could cause blackouts.
A bleed in her brain?
It can be corrected with surgery. The point is, the sooner we know what it is, the sooner we can fix it.
When can I see my wife?
She's in trauma 2. You can see her for a few minutes before we take her off for tests.
All right, let's set up for an MRI and an ICP. You want to get a thyroid panel, estrogen and progesterone levels also.
Do you want me to page you when the patient's ready?
Please. I'm going to go call Robin.